you keeping all that energy bottled up inside. You gotta let it breathe. You gotta let it breathe. Talk about it. Get it off your chest. Don't move around with a screwed up face. Talk time we has it. You feeling stuck and need a change of pace. Talk time we has it. Family and friends are coming in. Talk time we has it. The joyous times they never end.
Hey y'all, so this is gonna be my first time doing a little segment called Inside Yazzy's Mind. Since moving out here to Texas, I've been getting more in touch with like nature and I don't know. So right now I'm just looking out the window and I'm like, let's talk about what's going on in my brain? So I was sitting here thinking, and it's like, I know in the podcast we talk a lot about mental health and those things. And the crazy thing is, it's like, I've been meeting some people out here in Texas, and they're also Black, and they're like, I love that you talk about that in your podcast because, like, especially for our community, it's not discussed on a lot. So it's really cool. And I'm like able to have these conversations with people like that I just met. And the thing is, like, I feel like I've always been that kind of open person that people like gravitate towards or they're very like, they can open up to. And I love it. Like, not in a weird way, like, "Oh, I love it because I get all your details." It's like, it allows me to, like, really, like I don't know how to explain it, like so, like, my mind is already, like, thinking so many things at once? Like, I feel like I'm always, like, solving things that don't need to be solved, which I've also learned that too, like, sometimes people just wanna vent, and you don't need to always give, like, a solution, um, so that'd be things that I'm told. But for the people that do be like I need like feedback or like just even like another way, like another perspective. It's like interesting because it's like I've even either went through it personally or like I've talked to someone that has went through it personally. So it's just always like I feel like it's real life character development. Like, like how you watch movies and stuff, and then you're like, wait, hold on. Like, this is a character development. Or like I guess more like in shows. And that's, like, something I really like about a show. I always say that. I'm like, "It has really good character development." And some people be like, "What?" Or some people be like, "Oh, okay." But it really does matter because if you're watching a show and it's, like, the same things happening over and over again, you're like, "Alright, bro, I'm annoyed." Like, for instance, like, what was it? The High School Musical theory or whatever some people call it, I forget what it's called. But when they're like it happens in a lot of, like, romantic movies or just, like, in general. It's supposed to be like they fall in love and it's the honeymoon phase, and then obviously there's drama that happens that makes them break up, and then obviously that somebody helps them get back together or like whatever. It happens in all those movies. But in my era, I guess like people were calling it the High School Musical theory or whatever because it was like Troy and Gabriella is like okay, they always fought and get back together. But, like, if you're watching that now, it's like you don't wanna keep watching that every like, you know what I mean? Like, how to explain it? Like, for instance, if High School Musical was a show instead of those movies back in then, like, we probably would've still loved it, right? But, like, I'm saying now, I would be like me personally, I would be like, "Okay, I'm over this because there's no character development. What's happening?" You feel me? But nonetheless, that's how I feel when I'm like learning things about people or like just trying to like understand things about myself because self growth is so amazing, y'all. Like, since being here, I've been like, okay, like, who is Yasmina? Because for so long, like, I come from a big family. I'm like, I make a lot of friends. I'm very sociable, like things like that. And I've like always been like, this is who I am, to myself, I guess, in a way, but like not really like expressing it to like others. Not that I have to be like, whoop-de-doo, this is me, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, it's, like, crazy to be, like, learning new things about myself or wanting to get more creative again and, like, tapping into, like, more of nature or, like, those type of things. So it's very beautiful. Honestly, I was just like, I love it, and it really makes me want to keep pushing and, like, growing and see, like, okay, what else can you do? Not that it's, like, super crazy or whatever, but I, like, went to the aquarium with my husband yesterday, and it was so fun. Like, and for me, the crazy thing is, like, okay, so it was like aquarium, but also like a petting zoo. Like, I'm like, what? And that part was like crazy to me. And they're like, yeah, like you can pet and feed like kangaroos or whatever, like, and I'm like, what? And it was like so affordable too. And I was like, what even is this? Like, I love it. And it was so cool. And overall, it was just an amazing experience because I already am like an animal person. And like people would say, like, I don't even know, like they always be like, you give me fairy or like mermaid vibes. And I'm like, I see that. I see that. So it's crazy to me because I'm like, if I see it and they see it, the crazy thing is they freaking have mermaids there on the weekends.
Mermaids on the weekend? That is so cool.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, for real, because they also are gonna paint your face. And I'm very much like, I wanna live this moment because even if I'm not gonna personally be like, yeah, like, let me push a little kid out of the way so I can get time with like the mermaid. I love to see like just children genuinely like enjoying themselves and like, and to be fair, like I literally was a nanny. Like I said, I was that person in the family that was like babysitting the kids and stuff. So it's always just like a good feeling. And then also like when I was there, I got to really be like, oh my gosh, like you could pet the stingrays. There were so many like free things you could do, but it was like every other hour. And I was like, oh, so it was like very hard because it was like when we got there, it was like we were just looking around at everything and we didn't realize that. So we didn't get to feed the penguins. But next time I definitely want to do that. Uh, and it's super affordable to do that still too. So we had extra credit on our card. So before we left, we gave it to this little girl, and I believe it might have been her dad, but they're so grateful. And we were like, of course. And then um, I got to buy like two little things from the gift shop. So it was cool. I was excited about those. And it was just a really good day, honestly. So that made me realize like I was like, I need to be more open minded to it because like when we were in there, I was like, okay, I'm thinking aquarium, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we're gonna be looking at like, cause aquariums we've been to is like you really just be looking at fish and stuff. Like not like just fish, but like different types of fish, and like it's not really like interactive. You don't get to touch them. You don't get to do like stuff like that, right? So I'm a very like texture person, and there's some things that I've always been like, I want to know what they feel like, and I feel like I got to really experience so many things, and I don't know, in that adventure alone, I'm definitely gonna put the videos, but for me, I feel like I had a lot of character development because there's a lot going on in my family right now, and I'm trying to be like supportive and be there for like my family, and then I also know, like, I plan to have, like, we wanted this time off of work to really, like, try a little bit of things in the new city before we, like, start working. And, I start work on Monday. So I was really happy that, like, we went and did that because I was like, it was so random. And all the times I'd be like, no, let's just go to the gym. Or I'd be like, no, like, let's just go grocery shopping and then come home and like cook because that's just like my mentality of like where we lived before. And like now I'm like open to it and I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go do something. And so it was great because we were both like, whoa, they definitely are different than Arizona. So it was really good. Needless to say, character development is important, y'all. Be open minded to try new things for real because I definitely was like, I felt like a little kid being able to like, and I know that like sounds crazy, like you feel like a little kid. No, like my inner child was like, oh my God, to the point that it like literally radiated, and I was expressing that, and like actual time. And it was funny because like my husband was like, "You're so adorable," and I'm like, "What?" And he's like recording me, but like, I'm sorry. So like, the best way to explain it is like when we were like going through the thing because we realized that we couldn't do the penguins or whatever because we ran out of time. Like it was every other hour, and I was like, I don't want to be here. Like, wait another hour and a half so we can feed the penguins. We were already there for like 3 hours, which it was fun and it was big. But I was like, oh, okay, like I'm like, this is what I want. Like we were looking for the penguins, and by the time we got to them, we were like, oh, bruh. So either way. So then when we were going, since we found out we couldn't feed the penguins, we had so much credit on our card. So we're like, okay. So we backtracked and we're like, what things do you want to like feed or whatever? So I was like, I could feed the stingrays, but I was like, I've done that before and like touched them, like, and not that it's like not a cool experience and everything, but I was like, no, like I want to experience something else because I was like, what are the odds that you can feed koi fish and like touch them? And they get big. They get big as heck, y'all. Like when I saw them, I was like, dang, those some big old fish. And they're so cute.
Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna get it? Look at their mouth. Like mine.
I got one more.
You got it. They fighting over it. Oh, they were so cute, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh,
And like slimy at the same time. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it was like an interesting feeling for sure. But they were like getting fed and their mouths opened so wide, so it was so cute. It was adorable. And then we were feeding the kangaroos, and then like you could feel their like soft like mouth area. And I was like,
it was super gentle.
Was it?
It was super gentle. I didn't feel him.
he was just
Did it?
Yeah.
He's like, you got more for me?
Did I feed it?
it was just like a bunch of random animals coming and you wouldn't think that.
There is something more.
And they have beautiful
You are super gentle on
There's
me.
so many
Oh,
I
it's
honestly
good.
was like at one point I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot I recorded. Because then they also have like places in the day
You want to give him the rest? There's
and
two
it was
in there.
like
You give them.
spacious
I want to
areas that like kids can play bouncy house and stuff like that. I was like, man, this is nice.
How did it feel? Do you want to do the others?
Yeah.
And to really just enjoy myself and feel like it's okay to have like, what's the word, like, it's okay to live life, I guess.
They've been being feisty to each other even.
Yeah.
We all get so like ills or
Oh
like
God.
worried
What
or
is he
like
doing to the
stressed from our
capybara?
family or like things like that. And it's okay to take a breath and be like, let me do something for myself, or let me allow someone to do something for us. It took me a minute to be open to it. So if you're listening, do something for yourself. That is my challenge. You need to do something for yourself.
There you go.
Do something for you. But you need to start living life and be open to the idea of trying new things. Now, I'm not saying, you're right. Now let me go skydive. If that's what you want to do, if that was your dream, like, definitely do the proper way and all that, and let me know. Me personally, I'm like, I started small. I went to an aquarium that turned into also a petting zoo, and I was like, "Whoa, this is great." Because normally I would have been like, I don't want to pet them because they have like peacocks, female, and then obviously one male peacock around in the petting area, but they were like free roaming, like walking around and stuff. And like the female peacocks kept pecking some people because like they would feed them and then they would see like they were gonna go feed like the kangaroos or something, and they'd get mad and try to like come up to them and be like, "What's up? Where my food at?" And I was like, "These little peacocks are gangsters, okay?"
What do you mean?
So No, but nonetheless, I just want to say this was a good experience of just letting out inside of my mind and talking. And if this impact or helped anyone, leave down in the comments, put a like, subscribe, and of course, check out my normally scheduled podcast, Talk Time with Yazzy.